1 minute remaining to make your placing marker cards and hand it in to your group leaders.
You'll step back to the rail. We're going to walk the paddle. Step back to the rail, please.
Time is up. Dairy contestants, please mark your card, mark your placing on your summary sheet, make sure they match. Hand your cards into your group leader and step back to the rail. Dairy leaders, we're now looking to switch. I think we're going with Ohio State 1, Michigan State 2. Will we trade rings, please? Ohio State 1, Michigan State 2. And we could trade rings. Jerseys will be in the B ring. On the yellow card, class number 3, Spring Yearlings. Guernseys will be on the brown card. Guernsey Spring Yearlings, class number 4. Class number 4. Make the leader change, we will have time begin. All right, dairy contestants, your time is in. Guernsey Spring Yearlings, Jersey Spring Yearlings.
Step back from the rail. We're going to bring them in for a rear view, and then we'll let you come in for close inspection. number is an even number. Then you may come in for close inspection. Even number.
Dairy leaders, please take your animal's head to tail on the diagonal. Head to tail on the diagonal, please.
Shapes in this class, and as a committee we felt you need to find a black 2 steer to win that class. He combines the most advantages. No, he's not perfect in terms of structure, but in terms of muscle and finish and body, gets around the ring good enough. He's going to go ahead and win the class. He's the heaviest muscle steer, so he wins the class with the 4-point cut. From there it can be a little challenging, and from the scores that I saw and the reasons, we're kind of all over the place. You know, there's, let's just talk about, you know, the other steers left. You know, there's a shorthorn steer, shorthorn appearing steer. He's a long body steer. He's got a lot of width. Things you really don't like about him, he's the poor structured steer in the class. He's really opened up in his shoulder. He's straight off both ends, so you really don't like that about him. In terms of muscle, he's got some muscle, but there's a lot of width there. He gets a little flatter in his quarter. He's fat enough when you study him from a finish standpoint. The smoke steer, you get off on the profile and look at him. You don't really like he rounds in his hip. Just about everybody told me that, saw that. He's a sounder structured steer when you get him on the move when you compare him to the shorthorn. He's got enough muscle, he's got enough fat. He's got a little more meat animal shape and expression when you view him from the rear, particularly in his lower quarter. So that's one of the advantages he has over the shorthorn steer. And then people were kind of all over the place on what they thought of the black baldy steer. The black baldy steer is the most structurally correct steer in the class. Get him on the move. He takes a long, flexible stride out of both ends. He's the finest bone steer in the class. That's the one thing I didn't like about him. Long level down his top and out through his hip. Neck comes real high out of his shoulder. A lot of balance advantages he has. He kind of runs out of gas from a muscle standpoint. You get right up on top of him and study him down his top. He's the flattest, lightest muscle steer in the class. So the next thing you got to find is kind of, you know, we put him last because he was the lightest muscle steer in the class. But we saw the structural advantages he had, so it didn't cost you too much if you didn't get him off the bottom. So if you then you evaluate the shorthorn and the Charolais steer, the gray steer, we went ahead and went with 3/4. Both steers are fairly comparable in terms of muscle. The Charolais steer just has more shape and dimension when you study him from behind. He has more quarter. The big advantage is his structure and body volume. You know, the Charolais appearing steer, the gray steer, has more body volume, and he's more like a class winner in terms of his type and kind, in terms of body and shape through his quarter. So we placed the market steers 2, 3, 4, 1 with cuts of 4, 4, 2. Some of my high scores on the 4H side, 330, 342, did pretty good. 341 was my high set in the 4H, and then in the alternate division, 425 did good. 442, really good set, kind of blew everybody away. So good reasons, guys, and thanks for having me.